Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Contact Lost, where we'll be going into the details of Pyra Cup. That was the first Pyra and one of the few events that actually already used the new points update.
Wasn't
That's
sure
where I
where
was.
you're going with that then when you said it's the first pirate. I was like, what?
I've reached my
Uh,
destination.
okay.
Um, a massive thank you to our sponsors, the Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani. First of all, and to everyone who's a patron and or YouTube member, we thank you very much for joining in. And let's jump straight into it.
Have
Danny,
you ever
you've been
said?
at the event.
Have you ever said this with emotion? By the way, have you ever
No,
said thank
probably
you to
not.
sponsors with emotion? Because you're
I
very
don't
like,
think I've
thank
I've
you
ever said
for giving me money, and I enjoy it
money.
very much.
I don't think
Like,
I've ever said anything with emotion to anyone ever. So you know.
not even your children.
Yeah, exactly. Not even that.
Didn't even shed a tear on your wedding day. I realize this. All right, we'll move forward.
Yeah, let's do that. So,
Yeah.
you've been to the event, Danny. Why don't you give us an overall impression, maybe, of the event itself? How was
Um,
it?
it's always really good, actually. You know what? This is the first time I've ever stayed in the hotel. So every hotel I've ever stayed in has been like Hotel Tequila,
Oh yeah,
which
that's a wonderful place.
yeah, which is like yeah, a hotel built on top of a bar, the only bar in the whole village. Um, so
Yes, you
yeah,
can
so
see all the local fauna there.
yeah, exactly. You can see the locals in their natural habitat. And so I managed to stay in the nice hotel with an active shower, a shower that was warm. So I can see Malta, yeah. Yeah, so I had I thought it was really good. Obviously, no one wants to hear about the hotel, but like it's a beautiful hotel. It's a pain in the fucking ass to get to for anybody involved, apart from Mason who lives there. But other than that, the event itself is really, really good. Like a lot of top teams come, they all play, everyone enjoys themselves. There's a lot of competitive games, a lot of data that we really get out of it, I think. Plus, it's really good for the smaller teams.
Mhm.
So I came with the Czech boys. Yeah, and they a lot of them were quite new to teams and whatnot, and so this was like a very eye opening experience, but also a very like invaluable experience for them, right? So they can figure out how to
Mhm.
do estimations properly, figure out what happens when they go against some of the best players in the world. So I think it's that experience in itself is also what's really really good. So I thought it was good.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, well, let's see what the faction spread was like, maybe to begin with. I'll
Yeah,
put it on
sure.
the screen.
Oh my
Um,
god, you can do that.
yeah, I've been
Oh my
doing that
god.
a number of
Oh my
times.
god.
Crap, which
That's
tab
it.
is it? This one. Should have
Oh
given
my
it a
god.
title. There we go. Let's zoom that in a
Untitled
little bit.
spreadsheet. Fuck yeah.
Yes. Yep. So you can
Yeah.
definitely figure out that I have prepared this ages
I
ago,
like how you've hidden all the tabs at the top, just in case.
just in case. I mean, I'm
Professional.
just sharing this one tab.
Yeah.
Uh, Anyhow, so each team had taken a Chaos Space Marine army.
Hmm.
I
Shocking.
think all of them were Renegade Raiders, although not all of them were Skark's list, because Josh plays his own thing. And also, each team has taken Space Marines, even though I've split them into the different sub-factions, if you will. Here,
Hmm.
Space Marine is a bit of a funny thing. I mean, I've done this mainly because this was also the first event that was using the new Blood Angels rules. But apart from that, I mean, Marines take up the one slot they have in the WTC team setting. So I don't know. For me, it's one faction. Whilst usually when Meta Mondays or Stat Check do their analysis, they split them into all different flavors.
Hmm.
for one reason or another. Anyway, so Space Marines also had a full showing. 4 of them were Blood Angels. We've had 1 Space Wolves and 1 Dark Angels. Danny, anything to comment here on the Power Armor?
You know what? You know what surprised me the most is that only half the teams brought sisters. And
That's true, yep.
so only 3 teams brought sisters. More teams brought GSC, Chaos Demons, and Nids than sisters. Despite the fact that I and I think many of us still agree that sisters is still one of the best armies in the game. So clearly the points increases was enough to make people a bit nervous and apprehensive about taking them. But then when we look at the scoreboard, they absolutely just crapped on the entire event. So it's like fantastic, right?
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to that, but I don't know. I think sisters aren't that popular as a faction. Maybe I'm wrong.
In teams, they really are, though. In teams, they absolutely are.
Yeah, they are.
Because they are just they're an army that is really hard to just like get below a 10. It's an army that in a lot of matchups, if they get board choice and they get a pair and they can push high scores. It's just a good, dependable army. So, and I think also what is really important in mention is the more experienced teams, apart from Germany, are the ones that took them, right? So, stat check Poland, and like let's say Poland, like 8th team or whatever. They brought sisters as well, but like stat check and Poland taking them, but not Germany was, I think, a surprise for me. I was expecting Germany to take them, whether that's the case that they don't have a sisters player there, or maybe they were apprehensive, but that was a shock for me. That was one of the bigger shocks.
Yeah, but Germany had a little bit of a, I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? Different. That's a boring word, but a bit of a different team comp compared to the
alternative.
Yeah, there you go.
Alternative comp.
A hipster team comp.
Yeah. Well, it worked out quite well, right? So.
Yeah, but we'll get to that. Then, but one thing I've noticed is that we've got 3 Grey Knights players here, and I think at least 2 of them also had some sisters units. So how does it work now with Imperial Agents? Because I would have thought that if you're taking Imperial Agent sisters, you're actually blocking the sisters codex.
No, because they're not sisters. They're not sisters. They're Imperial agents. Yeah, they're not sisters. They're Imperial agents.
What nonsense?
No, it's gonna get weirder as we go through some of the lists. Or one of my favorite, which is just because it's how wacky it is. But it is maybe. All right, so we'll mention it now because it's on topic. So Germany didn't take sisters. Germany took sisters in Imperial Agents. So sister spam in Imperial Agents, which I thought was like, okay, that was pretty funny. I don't know if that was just like, this is secret tech no one thought of, or this is a case of I'm just going to confuse the living shit out of everybody. But when we're looking at it and it's like, oh, I'm not taking sisters, what I will do is I will take Imperial Agents and I will take 6 of the fucking immolators, then put sisters in it. It's like, why not just take sisters? And then add Imperial Agents onto it. Like, why not do that? I don't know. So
I don't know either.
yeah,
maybe it's the hipster factor again.
Yeah.
Then, so those were like the most obvious choices, but then we have quite a nice spread below that. So we've got 2 of Chaos Knights, Death Guard, Imperial Guard, Necrons, Orcs, and Votan.
My team. Check. Well, my
yeah,
team,
exactly.
Check
your team and one of the Polish teams.
Who else? Oh, right. Yeah, Zhov took it as well. Of course. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Neither did too well, to be fair. But I think they were just with the wrong tech.
Only 2 guard players. What would you say about that?
Guard for me are probably the strongest army in the game right now. So with stat check, with obviously having Gaylord on there, he's obviously going to take guard. I'm trying to think of who. Obviously Germany because I played them. I actually think the guard absolutely did really well. Really well. Someone's asked how did Votan do? I thought Votan did as expected, which is like sort of middle of the pack. They are very stable
They had
still.
2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw.
Yeah, they're not. The middle of the pack when it comes to teams. They had no changes basically. One unit went up, one unit went down. It's very mid changes. Doesn't really impact how the army functions at all. And a couple of bad matchups went down a bit. They are okay-ish into like sisters, so they have a bit of play there, but they're not going to set the world alight. Not until they get the codex. They're just too flat. So they're a good stable sort of like either like mid defender or flex pick if you want to just throw something a bit tank a stat check into an army, but they're never going to set the world alight. If I'm honest.
Okay.
Fuck off.
And what about Orcs? Orcs also got quite a few.
I don't know. Can I say hello in the chat?
Points reductions. Yeah, he is there.
So who got Orcs? Orcs got. Oh my god, we've got the same name. Orcs got some. Yeah, so Orcs got quite a lot of points reductions. However, I think what people have naturally gravitated to is what they usually play, and then sort of just like add an extra 2 units or whatever, which wasn't particularly working beforehand anyway. So when we see the same sort of Warhorde list with, I don't know, maybe an extra boys or an extra flash kits, it's not going to really change the impact it's going to have in teams. So I think that's what I've particularly seen. I think we had a couple of kill rigs. Kill rigs are fine, but if you don't know how to use them properly, then kill rigs are going to get killed very quickly. And then Polish Orcs, again, same sort of list style, not really any indifference, I would say, in terms of trying to change the dynamic of the list. So we're not really seeing anything that's quite innovative. I think Orcs in general are going to have to change quite a bit. So, like, for example, Brian's Orcs was definitely a big dynamic change. You know, the ones that took to LGT. So if until people start experimenting a little bit more, I think they're going to struggle. So we'll see.
Okay. Well, and then one page we've got the
agents.
Imperial Agents.
We've got the sister agents.
Go into that. Then we've got Dark Angels who took some points hikes in the update. Same goes for Drukhari and Space Wolves in terms of points hikes. We've got 1 Tau, 1 World Eater, and 1 Inari players each.
Nice.
So, I think we've got a showing from the majority of factions. There's no Admech here for some reason. Still a not popular army, not affordable for anyone.
You're missing one army. What one army? Go scroll up a second, just so I can make sure I'm. What one army is missing? That you think would be on there? What one army?
Thousand Sons, of course.
There we go. There's no Thousand Sons.
There's no Thousand Sons. Yes, when I was making this, I thought, hey, this is a talking point. Well, yeah.
This is a talking point. This is a talking point.
Yeah, best to forget about it then, isn't it? Yeah.
Clearly, so go on.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, clearly, Thousand Sons are in the same probably ballpark as Sisters, where people are probably apprehensive about taking them. But Thousand Sons are still really strong for what they provide. They're a bit more risky in teams, obviously, because they're a bit harder to, if you get the wrong push and the wrong matchup, it is kind of hard to recover from. So they are at risk, I would say, and they do need babysitting, but they're still a really strong army. So not taking one, especially. So we had a lot of prominent Thousand Sons players as well.
I was going to say that they need a little bit more protection and pairings than they did before, and I think they're even less forgiving now, but the incredible damage output is still there. Oh,
for sure. I had a game against Liam and his new Thousand Sons the other day, and my god, they're still on the table. They're still really good.
Okay, well, I'll have to message him to steal a list again. Because I can't settle on anything. I don't know. It's either too little chaff or too little damage. It's hard. It doesn't click. And when it does, it's like 1960 points. And at that point.
There's also no custodians, I don't think, is there?
No,
No.
but custodians didn't really get any buffs, right? I mean, you
Yeah,
got
but
there
like
was
we
a point
discussed last
reduction
time,
on the dreadnought.
nerfs to other things is above to custodians.
Fair enough. That's always the case, but well, clearly it wasn't enough this time around. Are we missing anything else? Imperial Knights also have not appeared.
Who?
Imperial
No,
Knights.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah, okay. And I think
Yeah,
that's I
you've
can't
nailed
think
them.
of any other faction. What do you think of Blood Angels in general then?
I think so. This is the so I know obviously people have been testing it with the all points and sort of sussing out like you know what units are going to what units have what weaknesses, etc. So people do have some experience. However, with it being like new points and other things getting nerfed, I can see why people want to take this and test it. I do. What was impressive for me at least is that there was quite several different builds, which is nice to see. So some are like going just pure melee, some are going like bricks, some MSU, some adding in a couple of tanks, if I remember correctly. So it's nice to see this differentiating list between all the Blood Angel players, at least, where it's not like copy and paste like the GSC list or almost. Um, so that was good to see, and I think BA are already good now. After looking at what Brian's been doing with them, and Lesho had some
Mhm.
tough games for sure, for sure. However, he still in the games that he did win, he still won quite convincingly. Brian crushed it in every game. I think he had 1 draw and 4 wins. So we can see that there's definitely some power there. The question for me is at least looking at this last weekend is do they need protecting in pairings or not? Are they a pairings princess or can they just go out and like attack most lists? That's probably the
Mhm.
question that everyone was asking, and I guess Brian and others have their answer.
And what are we setting on? Is it 18 Sanguinary Guard or not necessarily
Probably,
so? I
probably not. Let's have a look at Brian's list. Where's my tourniquet for
yeah,
Brian?
wait, I'll put it on the screen because I don't think we need that
Yeah.
faction spread any longer. So let me just get rid of that for a sec. Find that list and where are we? There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Sype of Ignite. So he's
So
got a hero hammer sort of thing going on here with a
yeah.
captain, which with what I believe is the sustained 3
Oh,
enhancement.
this is naughty. So once per game he goes 9 attacks, sustain 3. It's like, put him with
That
assault
is
intercessors,
ridiculous.
they just reroll wound rolls. He can kill God. It's hilarious.
Yeah, clearly he can. What nonsense.
Yeah.
Then we've got Mephiston, who is nowadays a lone operative. And we've got Dante, Lamatis, a
Standard.
lieutenant with a combat weapon with an
Makes sense.
enhancement.
Absolutely no idea what that is.
Okay.
Maybe
The
I don't know.
he's Sanguinor and Astaroth, so
The
actually
Astaroth
quite
is
a
an interesting one. What does the Astaroth do nowadays?
he's got 5 named characters. Wow.
Maybe like some. I don't know.
What an assembly.
What does the Astaroth do? While you keep going through, I'm gonna look at the Astaroth because
Yeah, you do
uh,
that, and I
unfortunately,
read this to the people listening.
I'm
So
quick.
then we've got
Astaroth gets Dev wins now whenever they charge and fight on death. Right, that makes some sense actually. That's pretty good. I like that.
well, he does it every time they charge.
Yeah, when they charge, he gives a unit Dev wins. I think that's what it
Fuck.
says. Um,
Uh,
yeah,
we've
each
got
time model
5.
in this model's unit makes an attack, makes a charge move. Yeah, they get death wounds and then they get fire and death. Nice, makes sense.
Solid. Yeah. So then we've got 5 assault intercessors. You've already mentioned what the use for them is. They just fuel the captain. An impulsor, because why not?
Standard.
Have
Yeah.
you can transport someone in there. 2 more. Oh, it's actually that for that squad. Then you've got 2 units of 5 assault intercessors with jump packs.
Makes sense.
2 blobs of Death Company, a
Makes sense.
blob, if you will, of Sanguinary Guard, and 2 scout squads. Fairly
I mean,
simple,
it's a blob.
smashy.
It's 18 wins. It's 18 wins, right? It's a blob.
Is it a blob then? Is
Yeah, I
that?
would say it's a blob. 20 Death
I
Company.
was
10 Death Company is 20 wins. So I mean, that's a blob at 18, right?
Yeah, but I always thought it's the number of models that define a blob.
Oh, no,
6?
it's
That's
just
laughable.
that's just semantics. That's just semantics.
Right.
That's a lot of wins to get through at 2 up, 4 up. -1 to hit, -1 to win in melee. The
Yep, that is true.
what I it's this very I'm gonna kill you kind of list, I think, because there's not a lot of huge amount of action play with just maybe like scouts and assault intercessors and potentially the lieutenant, but it clearly worked out really well. Just a quick while you're looking at him, I'll tell you his matchups. So his matchups are into World Eaters with a 13, Blood Angels, Poland's Victor Schmidt Blood Angels with a 17, Votan with a 15, and I think Votan with a 20, if I remember what Patrick on my team was playing. So Votan twice, Blood Angels, Space Wolves, and World Eaters. So quite a wide range, basically. So shooty, melee, and a bit of a mix. So that's quite good. And the mirror. So clearly this list is solid. Can't argue.
Yep, it clearly worked. But yeah,
fun.
only one kind of Sanguinary Guard. I've seen variations. We've got a 6-man and then 2 3-man, 3 6-man, or any other combination. I mean, you've played some games against this. Well, maybe not necessarily this list specifically, but into
No.
Blood Angels. What do you think is the optimal amount of Sanguinary Guard in your roster?
Honestly, I think it's whatever you sort of prefer. Like for me, I prefer MSU rather than big bricks. I find big bricks are really good if you know exactly how to use them properly, because obviously they're quite risky and it's if you put one foot in the wrong place, you just lose the whole brick. I prefer MSU low trading, so you get more points for your trade, etc. So I'm not sure what's the best, but I think it's all down to what you prefer. But clearly, this is Brian's kind of style, and it works out really well for him. So I'm surprised there's no Land Raider Redeemer in there, if I'm honest, or Bile Predator.
Yeah,
to make life annoying.
Redeemer's been such a popular choice for all Space Marine factions. Right, I'm gonna find the agents. I have no idea what they do, but let's give it a go.
Agents was David Szymanski from Team Deutschland.
Yeah, I got it. Just putting up on the screen. There we go. Imperial Immolator Fleet.
So this is what a sisters list would look like if you don't want to tell people you've got a sisters list. So he's got the cool assassin, the Eversoul. Eversoul's really fucking cool. Is it the Eversoul? No, I'm thinking of the. Am I thinking of the Eversoul? Is that the one that charges?
That's the one that runs 30 inches in your face.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's really fucking cool. I know it's pointless because you just go all this distance, get Overwatch and die. But I think it's really cool.
It's great that he can do it. Right? Almost like the 9th edition Solitaire, right? Where he
exactly.
Kill half your army.
It just doesn't have a 3-up invulnerable save. No, I think it's really cool. Yeah, because it's a big threat that if your opponent's got a really big brick that has got characters that they really do not want to die, they have to protect it. Otherwise, the Eversoul will get there. So that's really cool. And then an Inquisitor, I have absolutely no idea what they do, but I've barely read this codex, to be honest with you. It's just so boring. Draxus, Inquisitor. Draxus makes sense. Draxus is really good now. I think she gives 18 inches long up or something like that. Is that the one that Custodians are using? Yeah.
That's the one. Kyria.
See now, so Breaches, sure.
Okay.
And then it gets really fun. Then what the fuck is this?
Only 5.
Only 5 Immolators. Only 5. All right, so it's not too much of a sisters list. It's already 500 points in sisters, so it's 100. It's a bunch of Immolators.
We need to find a couple more. There we go. 6, 7, 8.
Well, it's going to be 1,000 points, right? Oh wait, okay.
Yeah, well, it's not 800 if it's below half of the points, right?
All right, okay. Well, yeah. Okay, so it's 800 points to sisters.
Yep.
Not a clue why. I assume the whole point of this is 8 Immolators are toughness 10 tanks. So toughness 10 tanks with a 3-up save. They have multi-melter, great. They hunt to kill a missile, each of a heavy bolter, so they do a bit of damage. But it's 6 tanks that can split 30 girls into 6 lots of 5. So I can see it's really good for sort of like mission play and denying primary. I can totally understand that.
Yeah, and this clandestine operation enhancement, Fukushim's saying us in the chat that you can infiltrate up to 3 infantry units.
Okay,
You
do
can
they?
really get ahead on the primary game potentially because you can just jail your opponent, right?
Okay,
Then you've
do they
got
have
these
subductors? Is the
guys.
question. How many subductors do they have? Ah, there we go. So that's how this works.
3 squads.
So they're going to infiltrate 3 lots of subductors with the 4-up invulnerable save. They're actually really annoying to kill if you've not got the pure volume. So I can see the idea behind this list. So like, hey, I'm just going to run on 5 tanks at you or whatever, splits. 30 girls between them tanks. I'm going to play for primary. I'm going to put, I'm going to deny primary, play for secondary. Try and move block to get primary myself. Throw some subductors. If I go first, I'm going to charge you a big ass line of 30, 4+ invulnerable save. And they do something else as well. They have something. Their ability is pretty annoying if I remember correctly. Fight on death. Okay, with absolutely no damage whatsoever. Fantastic. Let's go. So they can kill cultists. Great.
Exactly. And you're not killing them for free. You're taking 1 damage in return.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously Big Daddy himself, Canis Rex.
Yep. So
Because what is a Imperium list without a Canis Rex in there?
Exactly. I mean, at 450, he's got a 15-point hike, I think it was, but still worth it.
He's earned that. I'm not gonna lie, he has definitely earned that hike. But
yeah, no, true. But if you look at it percentage-wise, 15 points isn't exactly much, right? For compared to 400 something. Yep. So a little bit of damage dealing there and stratagem shenanigans as well.
So yeah, it's an interesting list. It's interesting. It's my favorite list because it's just so like ballsy and mental. I can see what it's trying to do, but I don't think it kind of does that. Or maybe it could if it gets the right if it gets the right pairings. Unfortunately, when I'm looking at it, it got a draw against Votan. Fair enough. Votan are going to struggle, perhaps against all the subductors in their lines.
Yeah,
blocking,
when you can infiltrate,
if you go
so
first.
you nullify the scout move, which hinders them.
Exactly. Also, like Canis Rex will just probably run through that pretty quickly. He then lost to Victor's Blood Angels. He lost to Leshu's Blood Angels. He got 0 points versus Guards and 0 points versus Inari. So, and yeah, I can see it's got some issues. It's got issues with melee armies and it's got issues with shooting armies. No, jokes aside, Blood Angels are obviously going to be really difficult for this because they just rush it and they're fast. So you can't. Well, the trick here is to stop people moving, and that's kind of hard if your army's got full jetpacks.
Yeah.
Kind of defeats the whole
And if
purpose.
it's a melee army, it doesn't really matter. You're kind of with the infiltration. You also kind of just give a little bit of extra movement, right, to them.
Yeah, for sure. And you haven't got and you've not got a lot of like damage with the immolators and the sisters to really kill a melee army. Like if you've got, I don't know, like 12 sanguinary guards just constantly going forward, kill a tank, wrap, and then charge again. Your multi-melter and hunter killer and heavy bolter is not going to do shit. And then versus guard, it's just 100% going to lose that shooty battle. It just can't win. Plus, it's going to get wrapped by very balanced, very healthy Equilons. So, I'm just at this point. I'm trying to figure out what actually is a good matchup for this. Sisters.
Well, you've gone through a couple, and it's not been looking great so far. I don't know.
Maybe base Space Marines that are not Ultramarines or any of the other named Space Marines. We shouldn't laugh. We shouldn't laugh or make jokes.
No,
He's tried something.
No.
He took it. Absolutely respect. He had an idea. He wanted to see if it works, and he's taking it. And yeah, it was really cool. I wanted to play against this myself because I was really keen to see how it worked, actually. But
exactly. I mean, we'd laugh when it's like 1 or 2 players at the OGT where you've got 800 people, but here, taking Imperial Agents to a 50-man event of what you assume is the highest competitive meta you could encounter, it's a ballsy move. So
Yeah,
kudos.
for sure.
Kudos for that, at least. Right. We've also had quite a few GSC showings for lists, but the differentiation in them has not been too high. So we had 1 Outlander and 3 Biosanctics, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I do. So what do you
Cannot
think about?
imagine where they got the Biosanctic list from.
I don't know either.
Cannot
Some
imagine.
no name made it.
Uh,
Or Innes probably figured it out
it's
first,
it's
right?
all in this. It's 100% all in this. Yeah. Go on.
Anyhow, what's your take on that? Right. So where does the strongest GSC play lie in now? What's the best attachment to play?
In all honesty, I don't know.
Mm,
It's not a good answer, is it? That doesn't sound good.
no.
So I don't know.
mean,
So it's there
elaborate, please.
are yeah. So it's hard to find a good one because I think. All right, so if you're really good at the Outlander playstyle, then you're going to do better at that than others. But if you're better at the melee playstyle, you're going to do better at that than the Outlander. If you really like to control the board with and do output pressure and high damage and try and score high, you're going to do better with host. So for me, I'm biased because I prefer a melee playstyle, so I prefer the Biosanctic. I've obviously played Outlander before many times, taking it to a Polish team tournament before everybody else, just to point that out there if anyone's listening.
You can find the evidence on Tourney Keeper.
You can find the evidence on
actually not
Tourney
made
Keeper, yeah. See, I'm the OG now. I think Innes would say Outlander's better, because he's done really well with Outlander, or he did really well with this at this event. I personally would say Biosanctic's better because I think it has it provides my playstyle what I want. So I don't think there's one detachment that's better. I think we're kind of blessed with 4 really good detachments and one that cannot take Aquilons, which is very sad.
Yeah, that sucks. It would have been a much better detachment if it could, right?
Games Workshop, if you are listening, the best way to balance Aquilons is to remove keywords, and you can start with the Astra Militarum. No, Militarum Tempestus Militarum, whatever the fuck it is, keyword. If you remove that, you'll balance them, I swear, I promise. So.
Then Brood Brothers is the detachment to go to.
Shh, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah. And then Chaos Space Marines. You got any opinion on that? I mean, all of them were raiders here. All teams took them. As I said before, not all of the lists were Skark lists. So the triple Predator, triple Vindicator kind of style list with Abaddon giving rerolls, so just shooting your opponent off the board. But also coming out from the points update, they looked pretty good. So did you run into CSM in your?
I don't want to make a joke. The only thing that got nerfed was fucking the Curse Cultists, the ones that Josh doesn't run. But the only thing that got nerfed was the Curse Cultists. No, I didn't play against CSM myself. I really wanted to. I actually really wanted to play against Josh, because I thought it'd be a good matchup to try and but like practice into. I really like his list. I can see he's boring, but honestly, it does the job really well. And he's very consistent with it. The rest, who else has got? So we've got we have Kubush with Abaddon, Legionnaires,
almost.
Yeah, Predators, Vindicators. Cool. Where's Skark?
Not so much.
Skark with no, just Abaddon, no, a bit more shooty. I think CSM are just really good at playing the shoot game. Picking the table, they were really solid first defender. Get the table that they want, and then they can take most matchups, right? The Abaddon Castle, when it's surrounded by Vindicators, Obliterators, it's just really hard to crack for a lot of armies. That's even Overwatch is brutal, right? So it works really well in the team setting. I don't see that changing anytime soon. And quite obviously, we've seen that CSM as a majority, they perform quite well. Even Josh's version, where it's more like trading based rather than just pure shooting pressure. So yeah,
I'm just looking at the list. The Belgian ones are a little bit of a different spin.
Belgium? Nicholas? No, that's
Jonathan.
Jonathan. Okay, what's he got? Okay, yeah, I see. Finally, someone's got Cypher. That's nice. He's got Fabius Bile. Okay, so it's still Renegade Raiders. Still
Yeah,
got
but
Predators, but he's gone more, melee
it's got
centric.
Chosen Blob, so it's a bit of a
Combined
names
arms
list
effect,
from
yeah.
OGT,
Yeah,
but not
I think.
quite so much.
Yeah, I think Obliterator's taking a points nerf was buff. Sorry, buff. I wouldn't say points drop. Obliterator's taking a points buff was really good. I thought they were already a really good profile for what they provide when you combine them with Abaddon. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna indirect you. Who cares if I hit on fours, right? If I'm just gonna reroll everything, so they can
Yeah.
really trade very, very well, very safely. And when you put 6 on the list, it's like, ooh, okay, it's a lot of damage, right? It can just pick out anything that's
It is.
staging and ready to push. It's very good. And when you combine that with some chosen, I can see it working out quite well. How was his
Yeah,
matchup? Is actually the question.
But Abaddon with 6 oblits, that's almost half of your list though. So he's got
Yeah.
4 points into demons. He's got
4 points
0
into
into
demons. That's interesting.
Astra. He's got 10 into
I can see
another
that into
Chaos
Gaylard
Space Marine.
because if Gaylard, I'm assuming Gaylard here is the defender, or maybe the attack. Actually, it's probably most likely that the attack with him because he can just outshoot him, right? Without any Vindicators, Gaylard's like tanks don't really have an issue because Obliterators are only so much range. 4-inch movement as well, just drops me. 4-inch movement and 24-inch range or 18 on the melter. Obviously, the guard have a bit more leeway of where they can go, and then stopping them because obviously you can like just wrap him. Why not? Yeah, I can definitely see how guard just punish this. He needs Vindicators in this, I think, a little bit more, just because they're a bit more survivable, I'd say. 10-10
They
versus
also
Kubush.
provide a
Okay.
more, I want to say reliable, but maybe not as much, a gun, right, with the strength 14. So
It's more,
easy
yeah,
through.
it's more that it isn't. It has no sort of real downsides. So if it like a lot of things will get charged, and then you can prevent you from being shot by the blast. But them ignoring blast and the modifier on the big gun for the blast is really it means there's very little downsides if you just push them out. You're not too worried about getting wrapped.
Yep.
Vindies are very good.
And then he's got 20 into Czech Grey Knights and a 13 into what was German.
Max was
Wolf
playing
Jail.
Whistles. Yeah, Max's list is really cool. Watching Max play that is also really cool. I finished one of my games early, so I just like kept peeking over to see how he's doing, and yeah, it was a good experience. It's nice to see. A lot of people thought Space Wolves, especially with me, with them taking like a 150 a point hike, they would be dead in that build, but he's making them work, so it's a shame.
Yeah,
I also
I'm
wanted to play against Max, but I didn't get to.
I'm surprised he's only taken 2 units of 5 Wolf and not a bit more, but I guess points are tight.
Yeah, points are very tight, aren't they?
Yep.
When you've got a shit ton of Wolves still. Which
true.
he still took 18s on the Wolves.
And how did the Wolf Jail do? So he's got a 20 into Sisters and 10 into Blood Angels, 11 into Vanguard Nits, a 7 into the CSM we've just mentioned, and Thomas Zdenek played what now? He's 19. Oh, Chaos Space Marines. Again, but a bit of a different build.
It'd be good if we could figure out actually who went first and who didn't, so we could sort of analyze it from that sense. But it's still really good, right? They still have all the tricks and the tools. So if you especially if you manage to go first and you just like zoom up the board, get into their lines, manage to just charge something, then it's really hard for the opponent to dig them out. And this is why Space Wolf Jail is so like really strong, is because obviously when they've got when something moves away from them, then they've got the reactive move. So that means you can't really shoot them because no activation realistically is going to kill all 7 Thunderwolf. So then they just pop there once per game. I'm going to move into you, and then they just get straight in there. And once they're in there, you're just not digging them out for a lot of armies.
So yeah. I mean, you really need to be playing one of those powerful punching melee armies to actually be able to chew through them, because shooting's totally ineffective, right?
Now the trick is a rock grinder. All right. Because then they can't
Yeah.
fall back, because then they take a desperate escape test on everything.
Yeah, and they're dying.
So you just charge your grind into each squad, and it's like, oh, that's a shame. Good heavens.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, rock grinds go into that. Yeah, it's
So what's next on our list?
Anything else that piqued your interest?
You know what, actually, for all the shit I was given for his list, Guillaume's double known, did better than I thought it would. So if you can
okay, yeah, Crusher Stampede. I could put it up.
double known, fucking nightmare.
Yeah, interesting, because usually you don't necessarily see the Norn in Crusher Stampede, I think, right?
This is exactly, and this is a lot of people are like, oh, the Norn is so expensive. What you get, it just kind of sits there and doesn't really do anything. But I think he's found a way to sort of like make it work, which is, yeah.
I mean, you've got the critical mass here, right? Because you've got all the monsters, which kind of just makes it more effective, right? Because not everything will be able to chew through that stat check.
No, not a chance. And it just, I think this just kind of fucks with pairings a bit, because you can just keep attacking with it and like really sort of use this to force your opponent to pick another list.
Yeah.
Which is actually what kind of happened with us a little bit when I'm trying to help the Czechs do their pairing, and this thing just keeps popping up in our faces. It's like, for fuck's sake, someone's gonna have to take it. And then in the end, I think we discarded it. Or no, I think in the end they did really well with their pairings. They used it to get the pairings they wanted with their attackers, and then at the end they defended it with it as the last defender, and it was like, for fuck's sake. So they outplayed us really well with this list, because no one really wanted to go into this. So we wanted to try and navigate the best pairings we could, and this just threw a massive spanner. So I really like this list for that. Just glad I didn't have to play into it. Oh my god. Tyrannofex is next to a Maliceptor. You know what this is missing? This is missing, what's it called? Neurolictor. So then what they can do is they can just pop like force battle shock test, and then if not, they get +1 to wound. It just makes them a little bit more aggressive, I would say. Neurolictors, I find against big monsters is very difficult. That plus the Swarm Lord, obviously giving CP as well as increasing CP cost expenditure, is another way to just diminish resources of opponents.
Yeah,
I can see. Yeah, it's very tight for points. I can see, but yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, and I think most Nets players showed up here with Crusher Stampedes, but no one else took Northern Emissaries.
No, I think they still look down on, but I see them as a really good tool. Like if I had a unit that was like 275 points. If I could take a unit in my army that's 275 points that can sit on an objective and just hold it for the rest of the game, I'd be like, I'll take it. On a mid board, obviously, not no man's land, not in your home. I'd be like, that's a really good points investment.
That's true. And it's a fairly independent unit, right? You don't need to
exactly. It just sits there and does fuck all, and it's like you either come at me and you don't die, and I out OC because I'm 15 OC, or
exactly. It's not you're not stealing it with 5 OC2 fuckers coming out in 3 inches.
It's really big bait, so it's good.
Yeah.
It's cool.
All right. I think we're going to wrap up for today. So we've been talking quite a lot about Pyra. It's been an interesting event, interesting insight into the new meta, and we'll see how it will unfold further on with more events coming in.
Is there any messages from Myson, by the way? Did he say anything, or like when the next Pyra is, or anything like that?
Oh, well, there's another one in November, right? That's a 5v5 for,
that's
a bit more open. That's a Polish one, you could call it that.
Yeah, I think people are more... That's great, but I think people are more excited for the 8v8s because, obviously, all these international teams come over. They bring all their... Some bring star players, some bring new prospects, but they bring their innovative ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is really cool to see.
Yeah, and some of them are described often as like training events, but it's also nice. It's always nice to win something, right? Even if it's dubbed a training event. But the one in February is, I think, a fully fledged competition in its own right. So that's
How many
where
people? How
we'll
many
have
teams?
the. I don't know,
Are
but
you
I know
gonna come
that
and do streaming?
I've got an NDA and I can't answer that question.
We're all friends here. You've got an
Maybe we,
NDA. You've got an NDA.
yeah,
He
yeah, with
drafted an
myself.
NDA. Oh, yourself. All right. Oh, fuck it. I bet we
No, I
can
mean
crack that though legally.
the plan is to do that in Feb, and hopefully
Yeah,
that plan transpires this time round.
that'd be
And
awesome.
we've got Sweden, USA, and England confirmed. I think he said.
Nice,
So yeah,
nice.
quite a nice
Maybe
setup
we'll
of
see
teams.
Germany, France, and Belgium back. Maybe Czech.
Maybe,
Who knows?
maybe.
Who knows?
It will
Maybe
definitely
Poland.
be interesting. Maybe Poland. That would be big
Yeah,
enough.
maybe.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's that. Thank you to everyone who joined in today. Thank
Right,
you
do that one
to
more time, but smile.
thank you to everyone who joined
Oh
in
my god,
today.
that's
You
fucking
guys are
terrifying. Oh my god,
awesome.
stop, stop. That's terrifying.
Thank you to our massive community of patrons. You are the best people out there, and YouTube members as well. Thank you to the Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani for their support. And next week we're going to do things a little bit differently because we invite you to a show on Wednesday where we'll be talking about the Talavera tournament in Spain. Yep, a
Oh,
teams
okay,
event, one of
okay.
the biggest in the world in terms of numbers. So that's
Isn't
definitely an
that this
interesting one.
weekend?
It's next weekend. It's on the 1st to 3rd
Ah,
of
right,
November.
okay. Right, okay. That is the same as Battle Britain. I think.
What do you
I
know?
hope it is, otherwise I'll be there and no one else will be. So.
Yep,
Nice.
hopefully it is, and
Yes.
hopefully you can make it there.
Yeah, stop. Stop it. If my, I'm gonna have to start buying like first class tickets on airplanes because if one more cancels, I'm done. Oh,
All right. The show tonight was brought to you by Danny and myself, and we bid you a goodbye.
au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Do widzenia.
There you go.
Konnichiwa. I have no idea.